Hello and welcome back to the EUW Challenger Series number 4, day number 3. I am Dignitas Stress, joined by Metas here today for this set of games. We are going into game number 2 between HeimerdingersCollosi and tRICKED.
Yes, Bas, could you please mute your mic because we're getting the weirdest feedback ever. I can just hear you moving around. Oh, okay. So sorry about that, guys, but we could just hear like noises in the background. It was quite disconcerting. Yeah, this is game number 2. If you did miss game number 1, oh, we have a remake already, so I'm not sure what's happening. But to get back to point, if you did miss game number 1, it was. I'm trying to think of the nicest way of putting it here, Stress. It was a ruffle stomp. Tricked got completely crushed by HeimerdingersCollosi. Now, the switch up didn't really work in favor of Tricked. HeimerdingersCollosi completely crushed it. They had a Caitlyn Lulu that just poked Jace down. And more importantly, Ezreal and Janna were not able to take Rumble's tower. So when they switched around, they had a tower advantage. Jace was in a really difficult position against Rumble, and it just snowballed from there. They camped bot lane over and over again. So I'm hoping from Tricked they can pull something back here and make it an interesting best of 3. Because as you actually said, this was not the Trick we saw yesterday. Tricked yesterday were confident, they were composed, they were making big plays, and so far we've not seen any of that happen.
Yeah, we didn't really see anything of a Tricked in game 1, let's be honest. I mean, it's always not a great position when you're the one that initiates the lane swap and then it ends up backfiring. Not the best of positions to be in. Looks like we are back into Champion Select. So Twisted Fate is going to be the first ban. That's actually a surprise. Like, I'm not gonna lie about this because normally when you're the team with the first pick, you kind of don't want to get rid of a champion like Twisted Fate straight away.
That's true, because you have the advantage of being first ban, first pick. So, yeah, maybe eliminating Twisted Fate. They have other plans. We are back into the lobby again, as you can see. I'm reading the chat here from the two teams. Apparently, he's having a bug where he gets stuck in the lobby. So, he's going to go ahead and relog here. Hopefully, that will fix the client bug issues, and then we'll be ready to hop into game number 2. But I would love to analyze the first game, Stress, and get really deep into it, but I just feel that the scoreline says it all. It finished on something like 18-3. It finished at around 22, 23 minutes where Trick threw in the towel. HeimerdingersCollosi were putting pressure on the middle inhib, so it was just a very, very one-sided affair. I am quite interested to see if they try and ban out the Diana. Diana did a very good job in mid. And if they try and instigate the 1v2 switch again, and if so, if they try and play it differently. Because as you said, they're the ones that kind of made it happen, and it just didn't work out.
Yep, we're actually seeing Cogmore banned. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but hopefully we'll get some kind of resolution on this fairly shortly. So not a lot to talk about these picks and bans. As we said, though, that not really a lot to talk about from game number 1. It's hopefully just Tricked can bounce back in this. So their first ban when they went through it the first time was indeed Twisted Fate. So not sure exactly what Cogmore is doing there right now. But Twisted Fate will be banned out for this game. And as I was commenting, not really something that you ban out on blue side, because you can either draw a ban from your opponents, because obviously you'll have your first pick then. I'm just a little bit confused at why they do that. Jarvan banned out afterwards, and Elise as well. So that's where we're at with bans for me. Yep, Cog is TF ban, but what if somebody wanted to play Cog? I guess I'd have to pick TF.
It'd be weird. So I don't know if we can have another remake. I was thinking, is Freeze a phenomenally good Cogmore? Have I missed something? But no, apparently it's a Twisted Fate ban. So we are into the 6th ban here, which is going to be Thresh, banned out from HeimerdingersCollosi, which of course will give Tricked the first pick, as we said before. Nestralas doing the banning, and will be picking first. So will he opt for the Jace again? It doesn't look likely. Zac is open. We have seen Zac banned a lot throughout the tournament, and indeed picked up a lot. Kazuno, I believe his name was, from ESC, plays a lot of Zac and does a phenomenal job in the jungle, but obviously Nestralas is their top laner, so Zac is one of those characters, Stress, that can be played top or at mid, and I can actually see HeimerdingersCollosi hovering over Twisted Fate here. They have switched over, so obviously they did get the note that Cogmore was indeed the Twisted Fate ban.
Yeah, so that should be all decided there. I think they're just getting reminded that Twisted Fate isn't actually available in this game. Looks like they might be thinking about Nautilus in this game, HeimerdingersCollosi. I've played Nautilus a little bit. As you said, Zac can be played up in that top lane, can be played in the mid lane and the jungle as well. So a fairly versatile champion and a fairly unique champion as well. Another one of the champions that works off percentage health rather than any kind of mana bar. But where will HeimerdingersCollosi go from here?
Looks like Rumble. They have 3 seconds to go. Freeze is going to lock in the Tryndamere pick. So Tryndamere and Nautilus are taken for HeimerdingersCollosi. I just wonder if that's a placeholder pick or if they're actually going to go for the Trin, because Trin is fairly viable. You know, he is a strong character in the right hands.
Maluno in chat just has told us that Tryndamere is Rumble. So placeholder bans, placeholder picks, everything's going to be a placeholder at this rate in this game. So that does mean that at some point we're going to have a remake on the lobby again. So hopefully we can get into the game sometime before 10 o'clock UK time, because that would be fairly nice. But sometimes these things happen in game. Not everybody has all of the champions, and you want everything in a particular pick order. So that's why these players do that. That's essentially what a placeholder is. If the person that wants to make that pick doesn't have that champion, they select a champion and let the other team know, and also hopefully production. Sometimes it doesn't happen, and we get all excited about Heimerdinger picks, but hopefully they let everybody know exactly what the correct picks are.
Yeah, and I think, going by what you just said, sometimes Smurf accounts don't have all the characters. Now, as you said before, GB is Yamato Cannon, and he is the second pick here. So this is his Smurf account, and I guess he didn't have the Rumble, had to pick the Nautilus, and therefore they are going to put the placeholder pick in. Wukong is potentially on the cards here, so I'd expect to see Wukong top lane with the Zac jungle if Wukong isn't the placeholder pick as well, although nothing would surprise me at this point.
Yeah, at this point we're going to have 10 placeholder champions, and then it's going to go through the whole champion select again. So everybody in chat's telling us now that things like Ezreal is Taric, and there's not even an Ezreal in this game. I'm switched on enough to realise there's no Ezreal yet. You can't fool me, chat.
There's no falling stress, detective stress on the case. You do have a Varus, that's interesting. Now I'm getting confused. It's a Vayne and a Sona. Hovering over these, they haven't locked them in just yet. Vayne and Sona is a fairly interesting composition. The Crescendo, of course, is going to be awesome alongside the Equalizer and the Depth Charge once they get into the fights, and Vayne can pretty much just run rampant, picking off anybody she pleases. Back over towards tRICKED again. I keep getting this weird active game was not found client bug, so hopefully that's not lagging me too bad. But yeah, we are onto the 4th and 5th picks here for tRICKED. And I would love to try and guess what this is, but they're hovering over Twisted Fate after they said Cogmore was a Twisted Fate ban, so my mind is just full of fudge. I don't know what's happening, Stress.
Yes, mine is as well, and I'm watching Bass, our producer, wrestle with the client. What game is not active or whatever that bug is, keeps popping up all the time. It's a little bit of a strange champion select for you guys. It's a little bit difficult to keep it all in our heads right now. As you said, Cogmore is in fact a Twisted Fate ban. And there's a Tryndamere who is a placeholder for, I believe, Rumble. Vince is getting Vayne and Varus very confused, and I hope that doesn't happen to him in real life. But we'll see exactly. HeimerdingersCollosi are waiting on their last 2 picks here. Will they go with the Caitlyn that they're hovering over? Yes, they lock the Caitlyn in. Will it be Orianna in the mid lane as well? Yes. Okay, so full lineup has been selected. Sorry, for tRICKED. It is HeimerdingersCollosi with the final pick.
Yes, they're hovering over a Veigar pick. I have seen Veigar a couple times in professional play. It can be, absolutely devastating in the right hands. They are going to switch over, though, towards Kha'Zix, which, of course, has not been banned out. Zed, the other AD assassin mid laner, as we see very often, has been banned out, but Kha'Zix slipped through the cracks here. So they are seemingly caught in 2 minds. They're switching through pretty much every character in the roster now, going over to Jace. So just to clarify, it is going to be Zac, Lulu, Wukong, Orianna, and Caitlyn for tRICKED. Tryndamere is a Rumble pick, so that's Rumble, Nautilus, Sona, Vayne, and potentially the Jace if they lock this in. Jace would be quite an interesting pick because they have a bit of everything here, Stress. They've kind of got the engage, they've got the poke, and they've got AoE damage. So they pretty much just want it all.
They do seem to be wanting everything that they can get here in this game. Very greedy aspect of HeimerdingersCollosi's play, and hopefully they'll back out soon, otherwise they're going into game with the Trinity. Yep, there we go, is the lobby remake. And while this game gets remade, guys, I think we might go to a very quick break, if that's okay with our production, as I think we need to gather our thoughts, make sure that we're heading into game with a clear mind, because I think both Vince and I are a little bit, not confused by Champion Select, but just trying to gather our thoughts, as I said. So we're going to go to a very short break, guys. We'll be back with you as we head into game number 2 between HeimerdingersCollosi and tRICKED. Hello guys and welcome back. We are live with game number 2 between HeimerdingersCollosi and tRICKED for the EUW Challenger Series number 4, day number 3. This is potentially our last game of the semi-finals. It is, as we said, game 2. HeimerdingersCollosi have a 1-game lead and find themselves on the red side of the map for this game. tRICKED, on the other hand, have to bounce back from somewhat of not a close defeat in the last game. It was fairly one-sided. HeimerdingersCollosi kind of just taking a few early kills on Jason, ending up running away with it. And I'm not sure whether my co-caster Metas is quite back yet, but I am Dignitas. I will be joined by Metas. Hopefully at some point he'll cut me off when he gets back. He is.
I am back. Sorry, I had to very quickly cancel a phone call, so it wasn't just beeping in the background. But we do have HeimerdingersCollosi putting down a Wraith Ward there. And you talk about bouncing back. They have the perfect champion to do so. They do have Trashy on Zac coming out of the jungle here. And that's definitely one to watch out for once he gets the Let's Bounce onto the back line of HeimerdingersCollosi. Very well could be shutting down the Vayne in her track. So I'm hopeful here, Stress. We talked about it in the break. I'm hopeful that tRICKED can bring this one back into a game 3 because the game 1 was extremely one-sided.
Yes, and it's a sign of a good team that can bounce back from that kind of a defeat. We saw in the first game between Absolute Legends and British Tea Time earlier that British Tea Time found a point where they just kind of ended up with about a 15,000 gold lead in that game, and then ended up running away with that series. But Absolute Legends bouncing back in spectacular form, taking down British Tea Time in the next 2 games fairly convincingly in game 2 as well. So, you know, it's not beyond the skills of a team like tRICKED, who were very impressive yesterday to come back into this.
Yeah, that's very true. We do actually have Extinct picking up the Jace this time around. Last time it was Nesralas, who's now gone along with the Monkey King Wukong. So he's going to be facing off against Vayne and Sona at top lane. So it is going to be another lane switch up here, this time instigated from HeimerdingersCollosi, obviously feeling like they had a very strong switch up last time around, but it definitely is a role reversal, Stress. Last time around it was HeimerdingersCollosi that had Caitlyn Lulu. This time it's going to be tRICKED. Can they make it work?
Yeah, and this time you can see it's going to be a Rumble going up against that Caitlyn Lulu. Very similar picks across a lot of the map. That Vayne is a different pickup, as well as the Wukong as well. So, kind of half the same teams if you were to put them all together, but as you said, this time Caitlyn and Lulu on the side for tRICKED, and will we see them make it work quite as well as HeimerdingersCollosi did? Vayne Sona's not a lane we see all that much anymore, unless you're watching a game with CLG's double lift in it. Not a lot of people are using Vayne all that much right now, especially once we've seen the move towards that blue Ezreal build. Vayne's kind of seen a little bit less play, so that's going to be something to watch out for in this game.
Yeah, it's a really good point. You know, Afro Moon and Double Lift do like this comp quite a lot because obviously the sustain from Sona onto the Vayne is going to be very nice. The crescendo is always useful going into the team fight stage, and this allows the hyper carry of Vayne to get some fairly free farm. She can just farm to her heart's content right now, try and push the lane, and see if she can come off basically around even to Caitlyn. Because if you were to put Vayne and Sona against the Caitlyn Lulu lane, they would get harassed so much that Vayne would simply not be hitting the high CS scores going into the 10-minute mark.
Yeah,
so
Maluno's actually going to flash onto EUW, get that staggering blows, and will they be able to pick up the kill? Rumble has overheated, Electro Harpoon doesn't quite land, yet they do pick up the kill with that dredge line. You know, a little misfortunate timing on the overheat there from Yamato Cannon. Maluno dropped quite low as well, has to be careful that Caitlyn doesn't come in and look to pick him up with a Piltover Peacemaker, but the Electro Harpoon is going to be enough to push them back. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Trashy is hovering around, trying to make sure as that wave pushes in that Freeze and Kazmich don't do too much damage to the turret. So 2 up in the top, and for a moment there were 2 in the bottom for HeimerdingersCollosi, and Zac shows himself with that elastic slingshot, reveals his position in lane, and Freeze and Kazmich decide to back off a little bit.
Yeah, feeling the pinch a tiny bit there. Slingshot came in. Trashy's still around the same position, actually, so maybe going to be trying to go back in again. Caitlyn has stayed in the lane, had by and large full HP did Niels after Elo Crash, I should say, went down in top. So Still Trashy in the same position, waiting for the creep wave to push. And we could see some action going down because Wukong can close the gap very quickly with a decoy. Here comes Zach once again. Tumble instantly from Vayne and shutting down that pressure. So Trashy spent a lot of time there waiting for the perfect gank. Didn't quite work off.
Yeah, it didn't quite work off at all, and we did have that successful gank down in the bottom lane for Maluno. You can see there's that, closing the distance by Nezrelas to try and get some damage down. Finally, Freeze and Kazmich find themselves in tower range again, but out from that tri-bush area comes Trashy to make sure that that wave is pushed back. You can see how much better pushing in towards the tower that Caitlyn Lulu lane is. They've already got the tower down to about a third of its health remaining. But with that gank from Maluno, and they are actually chasing it through the jungle, Orianna, I did just miss that a little bit. You guys saw it on stream. I can see that our camera guys did catch on towards that. So apologies for not quite catching the action on that one.
Yeah, Orianna did pop her flash. So did Jace in the process to try and clean up the kill. So 2 flashes going down in that skirmish at bot lane. Trashy is in the same position over and over again, kind of telegraphing the ganks at this point. So Niels is still at bot lane along Elo Kratz, trying to get some farm. Let's have a look at the difference or similarities in the CS. Vayne 51, Caitlyn 43. But there's been a lot of pressure. Here comes Jace from the side. Shock Blast comes through, forcing the flash instantly from Niels. He does not want to even try to gamble with his life. So in that sense, it was actually a successful gank. They got the summoner out.
Yeah, burning a flash will kind of be enough for HeimerdingersCollosi here. They do find themselves about 1,500 gold in the lead here. 2 kills to 0 up. And unlike the last game, one of those kills is onto Jace. So not quite the same Jace play that we saw in the last game. Unfortunately, in game number 1, Nezrelas did end up dying and quite a few times as Jace in that bottom lane. You can see the Yamato Cannons actually come out with the Equalizer and the Flame Spitter running. Exhaust was on. Can he land more damage out? Can he get an Electro Harpoon? Oh, flash into the barrier bait. Very nicely done from Niels for saving that barrier right until the last second. Yamato Cannon thought he had that one, but barrier's a little bit too strong.
I am surprised that he would go that deep against the barriered up Caitlyn. He must have known she still had it. It had been popped before that point, so I am surprised at Yamato Cannon. Rumble is one of those solo laners that can turn things around in a heartbeat with the Equalizer and the Danger Zone Flame Spitter. It's going to do so much damage, and that's what we just saw there with Lulu dropping. So not looking too good for Tricked once again. 1 to 3 down. Looking at the Jace build, again, fairly standard opening. Interestingly enough, Kiwi Kid actually builds a Spirit of the Elder Lizard on Jace as well, and he's one of the only Jaces that I've actually seen do that. So I'm quite curious to see how Extinct is going to basically approach this Jace build. Tower has gone down. Vayne and Sona will be answering the call though, so that's a 1-for-1. Also, the blue buff is being stolen right now from Maluno. You do have Jezz coming from the side, and also Trashy, and they're going to try their best to try and make something happen here. Maluno is going to be going in. Wukong on towards Kazmich. Kazmich could be falling down here. The Ignite's been popped. Can Vayne answer back on towards Nezrelas? Zach from the side as well. Depth charge has been popped down. The Let's Bounce. Here comes the ace in the hole, courtesy of the Caitlyn. Freeze will fall, and that's a 3-for-4 exchange. I don't know if they're going to be chasing onto Maluno. He's pretty tanky. You do have the stretching strike landing onto Maluno, which is going to slow him down somewhat. Lulu from the side as well. So this is a 3 versus 1. The dredge line has just came up. Zach's going to be slingshotting back in again. The strike lands again. Lots of poke damage, but it looks like Maluno, oh so tanky, will survive.
I believe it was a 1-for-2 exchange in the end of all things. He did my favourite thing that I do is you look at the scoreboard and you think that was the numbers.
Oh, yes.
You end up reading it off, it's okay.
Herp.
I was looking around, I was thinking, God, 3 for 4? It's alright. We all do that from time to time. Interesting to note right at the beginning of that, Extinct was actually the one that took the blue buff. It wasn't Maluno. Managed to get that Shock Blast Acceleration Gate combo down, put the damage down onto the blue buff, picked that up for himself. So HeimerdingersCollosi still have that 1,500-ish gold advantage now in the lane, but Niels and ELO Kratz have come up towards this top lane to try and push it through. So we'll see what the response from HeimerdingersCollosi is going to be.
Yeah, my brain just couldn't formulate it properly. I meant 3 for 4 overall, but of course I said exchange. So I apologize for that, ladies and gents, if that was confusing. But we do have a fair amount of kills coming down on the board. Tricked managing to add a few more kills to their tally. Now you're going to have Freeze, very aggressive one towards Niels, not able to land the Silver Bolt's proc though with the third attack. So Niels managing to escape there. You're going to have the 2 duo lanes at top, and of course the 2 solo lanes at the bot and mid. So we do have basically just a reversal here, Stress, to what you'd expect from the standard meta. Zac is pushing down towards bot lane, so potential gank on the cards, but Maluno is also here. So Trashy and Maluno are going to spot one another. Pink ward down and try bush, so Maluno knew there were no wards down there. There we go, ward has just been placed down from the jungler of Trashy. But looks like for now, we're just going to have quite a bit of farming from both teams.
Yeah, Extinct tried to come down as well, but Jezzy's had him scouted on the way, so pretty much blocked him off from getting down to assist in that bottom lane. With those duo top laners for both sides up there, they're trying to just push and keep each other back, but obviously the ultimate goal for Niels and ELO is to take down that tower. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, you can see that Jezzy's has been dived on by Maluno Extinct. They pick themselves up. Another kill there in that mid lane takes it to 3 and 5. Meanwhile, Yamato Cannon has been caught out down in the bottom lane by Trashy and Nezreal, so they trade that kill across the map. 1-for-1 overall exchange.
Yeah, again, just global action. And Maluno and Extinct are going to be pushing down the mid tower. This should be there. So there we go. Blue turret has been destroyed. Meanwhile, at the bot lane, with Wukong managing to basically shut down Yamato in his tracks, he's going to be able to get some farm here, Nesrelas. So it's already looking much better for Nesrelas. He had a really iffy game last time around. Again, it wasn't necessarily all his fault. The lane switch up simply didn't work. But this time, it's nice to see that he steadied the ship. He's on 2-for-1, and he's looking pretty strong on Wukong.
Yeah, and this game's looking a little bit different to the last game. Flash Crescendo is just barely going to miss on to Niels, and I think he'll probably breathe a sigh of relief that he didn't get caught out there, because Freeze would have caught up to him very, very quickly. But this game's looking very different to the last game. Last game, by this point, there were quite a few more kills on the one side, and this time, fairly even. The gold is far less different than the last game, is what I'm trying to say really here. Stumbling around a little bit for it, but this game has found that kind of lull period. You can see that Nezreal and Yamato Cannon in that bottom lane are just pretty much trading back and forth right now.
Yeah, as you said, there's not a great deal of discrepancy between the two teams. I mean, 2.4 gold, 2.4k gold, if it was just 2.4, that would be quite strange. 2.4k gold isn't a huge amount, so both teams fairly even. 1-2 on towers, so that's obviously going to count towards the global gold deficit that currently Tricked are facing. They'll be looking to equal up the tower score as soon as they can. Drake has been started off here from the team of HeimerdingersCollosi. They have 3 players strong taking this down, so it will be completely free. Zac is nowhere near to steal with his smite. Going to slingshot on towards mid. As you can hear there, the announcer, the dragon has been slain. And some pings are towards mid. Shock Blast comes out, but not doing a great deal of damage here. You do have the pickaxe and the longsword alongside the Mana Moon picked up on Jace. We do have some action at bot lane, but the decoy going to be more than enough for Nesrelas to escape back to his tower.
Yeah, Dredgeline came out, kind of hoping it hits before the decoy goes through, but it did, just hook onto the decoy. Meanwhile, engaging once again, ultimate has been popped. Nezreal dealing a lot of damage out to Maluno. Looks like Jesus is being chased into the turret. Yamato Cannon manages to pick that up. Maluno has just about got himself away from this, but I don't think he'll be turning back on this. Looks like Nezreal is finally going to be able to pick that up, but here comes Extinct, lands the Shock Blast. Is he going to be able to chase on top? Landing a few more auto attacks. Popping that W is going to give him that added attack speed. Decoy is going to allow him to get away for just a split second before the Electro Harpoon comes over the wall.
Yeah, and you can see the power of Jace here. Jace, this time around, is had a really, really nice beginning. The components of Last Whisper are being picked up, so he's doing a lot of damage. How many stacks does he have on his mana? 584, so not long to go before the Muramana comes out here for Jace, and then he's going to be doing even more damage on top of that. So one to watch out for as this game progresses on. The Shock Blast poke, and then maybe the engage afterwards once a few characters are on low HP with a flash crescendo or something like that. Speaking of crescendo, Kazmich is being chased down from Jez's. There is a ward in the blue bush, so could potentially get a steal from Extinct with his Shock Blast combination. Here he comes. He's not able to pick it up. Orianna will take that, and they'll back off out of dodge.
Yeah, and when that Muramana has been picked up by Jace, he's already got 5 points into Hypercharge. That's the W from Jace. It means anytime he activates that, for the next 3 attacks, the attacks will deal 130% of the damage and attack at max attack speed. So apply the additional damage from the percent mana that the Muramana is going to give him. That means every auto attack of those 3 is going to deal so much damage very, very quickly.
It's a very good point, especially considering he's just picked up his last Whisper. So even more, going to have Armor Shred on top of everything else. Doran's Blade just for a bit of survivability, keeping him alive for longer in those 1v1 and 2v2 situations. Let's have a quick look at other members on the team. You actually have Kazmich in the bush here, just waiting. Are going to be engaging on towards Niels. Flashes out of the Crescendo. Very nice, preemptively deciding this Crescendo's probably coming. I should flash and just get the hell out of here. So does manage to dodge a bullet. Had that have landed, could very well have been a completely dead Niels. So well played by Caitlyn.
Yeah, and a little bit of a different thing to what you're used to seeing when you've got a Caitlyn and a Vayne in a game. Especially when you're in the 2v1 lane, you'd expect Caitlyn to farm that little bit better. Freeze doesn't have that active on the Blade of the Ruined King available yet. Was used on Niels in the previous engagement, but Vayne has been farming, well, even better than Caitlyn here, which is something a little bit surprising. I mean, normally Caitlyn is one of the easier farming AD carries in the game, just because of that range and the Piltover Peacemaker. Freeze is pushing this wave as fast as he can through, but meanwhile Jezis is on the way over, does double back towards the mid lane. You can see just how much pressure Jace is able to output here, because he can not only burn through the wave with that Shock Blast, you can see how much damage it did to Jezis, but when he uses that Hypercharge, it's just going to chunk through the turret.
Here comes Zach from the side, but the Acceleration Gate Shockwave combination does slightly go awry there, doesn't manage to land. And as you're talking about the top lane, yeah, I think that's exactly the reason why Vayne and HeimerdingersCollosi wanted to get the lane switch going, so that Vayne could have by and large free farm at top lane. We all know how strong Vayne is going into mid to late game once she has some items on the board. He's going to be such a hyper carry, so scary to play against. So this is looking very good for HeimerdingersCollosi. We do have a depth charge behind the tower, the equalizer instantly being popped down as well. Orianna dies in a heartbeat, just cannot get rid of that damage. 0 and 4 here, Jez is. So compared to yesterday, it's nothing's going his way. Had a great day yesterday. Today, the complete opposite. Jace has managed to pick up the kill on towards Zach behind the tower. Nautilus very low. Caitlyn will manage to pick that one up with the Pilt of a Peacemaker, I believe. Wasn't quite watching that. And you do have a flashing up Jace. But again, that is a 2-for-1 exchange. And HeimerdingersCollosi just pouring on the pressure.
Yeah, and that Muramana got finished just before the fight, and I mean 1 stack before that fight started. Jace ran in, knew he had the Muramana, melted away Orianna to begin with to allow Rumble to pick up that kill, went into the base, put Zac onto his passive and one-shot down the Bloblets for the kill. And Jace right now with Muramana and Last Whisper is so devastating, and I am assuming he's about to finish his level 2 boots when he goes back.
Yeah, he has 1.3k gold. It has gone back. As you said, he's going to finish off his level 2 boots. It's going to be the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, so he's going to get the 15% cooldown reduction, going to allow him to throw out those Shock Blasts even more often. Also picked himself up a longsword, so could be a few items that he's building into. Only time will tell. Either way, Kazmich is running away for her life at top lane. Niels, I should say, has been sped up here, and actually forcing the Crescendo just from a defensive viewpoint there, and managing to save her life. So in that aspect, it was a success, but this tower is incredibly low, so Kazmich might not want to stay around. Having said that, though, you can have a look on the map. Extinct and also Maluno are coming up from the side. They're very hungry for some kills here. Niels is going to pop off the ultimate. The ace in the hole is successful, but here comes Vayne from the side. Freeze will pick this kill up very comfortably, also using the Blade of the Ruined King just to make sure Elo Kratz cannot do anything against the Vayne, who has now moved on to 3-1. You also have Rumble taking down Wukong at bot lane. So globally, just looking fantastic right now for HeimerdingersCollosi.
Yeah, and it almost looks like that wall on the map above Tribush up on that top side looked like it was made to be used to condemn someone, and Caitlyn went right into that little nub there. You can see that Orianna gets shredded down very quickly by Jace, manages to get herself away using that Command Protect to soak up some of the damage. Jace is just so fast at taking these turrets down because of that Muramana active is going to give him that added damage as well. So he's just going to chunk through these towers when he's got hypercharge available. He does decide to back off, so not quite showing you guys that straight away.
Yeah, as you say, hypercharge is just so strong for taking towers, and there's very little that Tricked can do about this. We're at 20 minutes again. Yes, it's slightly closer than last time around, but it's still a very one-sided affair here. 7 to 13 on kills doesn't necessarily look too far apart, but the goal difference is huge. Here comes Maluno from the side. He is so tanky. He can afford to be this ballsy. You have the shock blast and acceleration gate combo, but not managing to quite do anything there. Maluno is going to just pull himself around. Wukong's trying his best to get some farm and push the bot lane, but it doesn't really help the rest of his team because his entire jungle is being taken over. Right now, HeimerdingersCollosi are basically setting up camp and just basically taking the entire jungle. They do not care. They do not fear Tricked.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, they've just decided not to take that lower outer tower yet. They're now collapsing around Nezrelas, but I think he might just be able to get away from this one. They put so much of their focus up on the top and mid lanes that they really just haven't felt the need to get this lower tower. But the equalizer is going to come down. I don't think even the decoy is going to be enough to get Nezrelas out of this one. He is facing 4 of them, manages to get the knockout, but Maluno will end up taking that kill down. So Maluno now 2-2-7, has that Spirit of the Ancient Golem finished alongside the Kindle Gem, and that is a lot of the reason why he is so tanky. They do answer back with a turret up in the top lane, though that outer turret has gone down in favour of Tricked, and that puts them at a total of 2 towers down. HeimerdingersCollosi with 5 though. Flash is going to come out from Yamato Cannon. Depth charge will lock on towards ELO-Kratz. It looks like Yamato Cannon and Maluno are going on towards Jesse. The Shockwave is going to keep him alive ever so slightly longer. Will end up falling to freeze though. A Tumble's going to come out to try and catch on towards ELO-Kratz, but far too safe already in the base.
Yeah, the problem was that even though Caitlyn managed to pick up the tower at top lane, they had no AD carry at bot, and it was like a 3 versus 5 situation, so there was very little they could do. Hyper-aggressive nature again from HeimerdingersCollosi, which we've seen very often, seems to be their motto going into these games. We do have the slingshot coming over from Zac. He's not tanky enough though. Vayne is going to completely crush him in a heartbeat, and that's Zac. He is considered to be a very tanky champion. Didn't last more than 2 seconds. Vayne now going to be switching her attention on towards ELO-Kratz, just pushing them back. And this inhib tower is going to get tanked up from Maluno, who is incredibly strong. They pick that one up, fires out the dredge line, not going to be able to connect. And they may very well try and pick up an inhib here, but you do have Nezrelas and the Ace in the Hole coming from the side. Oh, Sona just narrowly not taking the Ace in the Hole for the Rumble. Now going to be re-engaging though on towards Jesus, who does have the Zoni's Hourglass, just delaying the inevitable. As soon as she comes out of this, she'll be dead. There you go. Sona picks that one up. They'll finish this inhib off and then probably recall. In fact, they're just going to back off straight away because they know Zac is up and they don't want to risk this.
Yeah, Freeze and Extinct are fairly low here. Extinct's going to try and get some damage down. Decides to go aggressive, but as I said, very low in this engagement. Not really able to catch on. Freeze has already recalled back to the base and finished off a last Whisper. And it looks like a little bit of overconfidence here out of HeimerdingersCollosi, and they do lose, ended up losing a total of 3 at the tail end of that fight.
Yeah, I'm just having a look here. They also got 2 shutdowns. Niels picked up 2 shutdowns, so he just got 1,000 gold there, plus everything else on top of that. So, on your AD carry, that's a pretty big deal, and they're going to be going back in again. Maluno does get caught there, and here comes Zac from the side. So Freeze could be falling right now. Freeze has gone down from Zac, another shutdown. So looking good in this respect, but here comes the Rumble. Gets slowed a couple times. Neil's pulling himself away from this action. And just a few warning signs here for HeimerdingersCollosi. They don't want to get too aggressive. Trashy now coming in from the side. Rumble is going to do a lot of damage here. Could pick up a kill or 2. And with that being the case, you are going to see Tricked pulling themselves away. Again, Niels is going back in. Zac jumping in. Ace in the Hole comes down. Oh, somehow manages to survive right at the end there. The Locket of the Iron Talaria was actually popped. That's what made Yamato Cannon manage to plow through that damage, but you have to feel he's going to go down anytime soon. Hopefully, there we go. Niles has picked up the kill and moves himself onto 6-1. So that's 2 shutdowns he picked up, 6-1, and Caitlyn is getting fed, but have a look at Jace at bot lane. He's going to use this chance to basically just take the inhib for free.
Yeah, Extinct managed to find his way in there, went through the mid lane. It looked like Nezrelaz was trying to hold him back as best as he could. But that fight and that whole sequence just screamed a little bit arrogant by HeimerdingersCollosi. They know they're ahead, and when you're ahead, yes, you do have some places where you can be just a little bit confident, but there is a difference between confidence and completely underestimating your opponents. Good pickups for tRICKED, and as you said, a lot of gold went over towards Caitlyn. So currently sat at about nearly 10,000 total, so brought her very, very close to the gold that Vayne has in this game, and Vayne looks considerably stronger with that Blade of the Ruined King, Phantom Dancer, and Last Whisper, but that will go a little bit of the way towards helping tRICKED to get back into this one.
Yeah, it's a very good point. But if you have a quick look at Baron, you do have HeimerdingersCollosi are nuking this down, and Wukong's taking double golems. They're not even get close to this. I don't think they even want to try and basically battle with HeimerdingersCollosi. And even though Caitlyn did pick up a few kills, having a look at the gold spread on HeimerdingersCollosi, it's looking pretty good. I mean, Jace is 4-1, so he's a threat. Rumble's 5-4, and also building pretty tanky with a Sunfire Cape and a Locket of the Iron Solari. So there's a lot of peel for Vayne here. There's a lot of threat. So you can't just nuke Vayne down, because then Jace is going to roll you. Then you're also going to have Rumble. They're engaging on towards mid here, whereas Caitlyn doesn't really have a great deal of peel. Zac has been caught with his pants down after the towers already fell, being forced to use the Let's Bounce defensively just to get himself away, and this will be the second inhibitor going down. So even though Caitlyn's had a good last 2 or 3 minutes, I still feel it's a way too steep a mountain to climb for her.
Yeah, they're going to have a very difficult job forcing off the whole of HeimerdingersCollosi, saying that a Shockwave does land on to 3, but it only really ends up doing critical damage to Sona. There's so much tankiness and damage just on the side of HeimerdingersCollosi that even with a very good Shockwave, it means that HeimerdingersCollosi are going to be able to maybe look at taking down this last Nexus turret once this wave pushes through. And it looks like they're going to get themselves a fairly comfortable 2-0 win in the semi-finals here.
Yeah, this game was a bit more taxing for them, but they did have a couple of questionable team fights. Chase just goes, screw this, I'm going to run right into the fountain, I do not care, alongside Jace. But this Nexus tower will be going down. Vayne will be able to pick up the Nexus too, and there's not a great deal that Zac can do about this. Vayne's just kind of darting around. In fact, Trashy is going to have one last try. This is the final chance, and not going to be enough as the Nexus goes down regardless. So as you said, 2-0 win there for HeimerdingersCollosi, and tRICKED got thoroughly outplayed, I'd have to say. They were definitely the second best team for the majority of the time.
Yeah, and it's a little bit strange because tRICKED looked fairly impressive yesterday, if I'm honest. But today, not really getting out of the gates. Not sure whether that's just a mentality issue today or whether HeimerdingersCollosi really are just that much stronger. I mean, they do have players that have played in LCS, and I don't think that's any sort of experience to downplay right now. Their players